I am going to reveal to you 3 things that truly intelligent people never, and I mean never, share with anyone. These are not suggestions. These are not philosophical concepts. These are absolute truths that I have discovered through decades of observation, through watching people rise and fall, through seeing dreams crushed and empires built. You see, most people go through life like an open book, spilling the deepest secrets, the grandest plans, and the most vulnerable moments to anyone who will listen. They think that sharing is caring, that vulnerability is strength, that transparency is the key to connection. But here's what they do not understand. In this world, information is power, and when you give away your power freely, you become powerless. I have watched brilliant minds destroy themselves, not through lack of talent, not through lack of opportunity, but through the simple act of sharing too much with the wrong people. I have seen entrepreneurs lose their million-dollar ideas because they could not keep their mouths shut. I have witnessed individuals sabotage their own success because they revealed their strategies to those who would use that knowledge against them. Those who would use that knowledge against them. The first thing that intelligent people never share with anyone is their future plans. Now, I know what you are thinking. You are thinking that sharing your dreams and goals creates accountability, that it motivates you to achieve them, that it brings support from others. But let me tell you something that will shake you to your core. When you share your future plans, you are essentially giving others the blueprint to either copy you or destroy you. Think about it this way. When you tell someone about your business idea, your investment strategy, or your career move, you are not just sharing information. You are giving them the power to influence your future. They might discourage you, plant seeds of doubt, or worse, they might take your idea and execute it before you do. I have seen this happen countless times. People pour their hearts out about their dreams only to watch someone else live those dreams while they remain stuck in the same place. The human mind is wired to seek validation, to share excitement, to find support in others. But here is the brutal truth that most people never realize. Not everyone wants to see you succeed. Some people will smile to your face while secretly hoping you fail. Some will offer advice designed to keep you small. Some will pretend to support you while working behind the scenes to undermine your efforts. When you keep your future plans to yourself, you maintain what I call strategic advantage. You operate from a position of mystery and power. While others are busy talking about what they are going to do, you are quietly doing it. While they are seeking approval and validation for their ideas, you are already 10 steps ahead, executing your vision without interference, without judgment, without the noise of other people's opinions clouding your judgment. I learned this lesson the hard way many years ago. I had an idea that I was absolutely passionate about. I thought it was revolutionary. I shared it with friends, family, colleagues, anyone who would listen. I thought I was being smart by gathering feedback and building support. But what actually happened was that I diluted my own enthusiasm through the constant need to explain and justify my vision. Every person I told had an opinion. Every conversation became a debate. Every piece of feedback created doubt where there was once certainty. But the real tragedy was not the doubt or the debate. The real tragedy was that while I was busy talking about my idea, someone else was executing a similar concept. They stayed quiet, they stayed focused, and they captured the market that I had envisioned for myself. That painful experience taught me that execution beats explanation every single time. Now, I operate differently. When I have a vision, when I see an opportunity, when I develop a strategy, I keep it to myself until it is already in motion. I do not seek validation from others because I have learned to trust my own judgment. I do not need approval because I have built confidence in my own abilities. I do not require support because I have become my own strongest advocate. This does not mean that I never collaborate or seek advice. It means that I am strategic about when and how I share information. I share details only when necessary, only with people who have a direct role in the execution, and only when the timing is right. I have learned to distinguish between sharing for strategy and sharing for validation, and I choose strategy every time. The second thing that intelligent people never share with anyone is their personal struggles and weaknesses. Now, this might sound harsh, and you might think I am advocating for emotional isolation or unhealthy suppression of feelings. But let me clarify what I mean. I am not saying that you should never seek help or support. I am saying that you should be extremely selective about who you reveal your vulnerabilities to, and you should never broadcast your struggles to the world. In our culture of oversharing and social media confessions, we have been led to believe that vulnerability is strength. We have been told that sharing our struggles creates connection and empathy. But here's what they do not tell you. Your struggles and weaknesses can be weaponized against you by people who do not have your best interests at heart. When you share your insecurities, your fears, your failures, your personal challenges with the wrong people, you are giving them ammunition to use against you later. You are providing them with information that can be used to manipulate you, to undermine your confidence, or to position themselves as superior to you. You are essentially handing over your power and asking them to hold it for you. I have observed this pattern repeatedly in both personal and professional settings. People who freely share their struggles often find themselves being treated differently by others. They become the subject of gossip, the target of condescension, or the victim of manipulation. Their moments of vulnerability become permanent marks against their reputation and their perceived competence. But the damage goes deeper than just how others perceive you. When you constantly vocalize your struggles, you are also programming your own mind to focus on problems rather than solutions. You are reinforcing a narrative of weakness rather than building a foundation of strength. You are training yourself to be a victim rather than a victor. Intelligent people understand that strength is not about never having problems. Strength is about how you handle problems when they arise. And part of handling problems effectively is maintaining your image and your power while you work through challenges privately. They know that perception shapes reality, and they guard their reputation as carefully as they guard their bank account. This does not mean that intelligent people never seek help or support. It means that they are strategic about it. They choose their confidence carefully. They share their struggles only with people who have proven themselves to be trustworthy, who have the expertise to help, and who have no agenda other than genuine support. They might work with a professional coach, a mentor, or a therapist. They might confide in a trusted family member or a close friend who has demonstrated loyalty over time. But they never broadcast their struggles to acquaintances, colleagues, or the general public. They understand that in a competitive world, weakness is often exploited rather than supported. They know that people remember your failures longer than your successes, and they protect themselves accordingly. I learned this lesson through painful experience as well. Early in my career, I went through a particularly difficult period. I was struggling financially, emotionally, and professionally. I thought that sharing my struggles would generate sympathy and support. I opened up to colleagues, friends, and even casual acquaintances about my challenges. What I discovered was that people treated me differently after those conversations. Some became condescending, offering advice that was more about making themselves feel superior than helping me. Others became distant, as if my struggles were contagious. Some even used my vulnerabilities against me in professional settings, questioning my competence and reliability based on personal information I had shared. The most damaging effect was on my own psychology. The more I talked about my problems, the more real and insurmountable they became. The more I focused on what was wrong, the less energy I had to focus on solutions. The more I identified with my struggles, the harder it became to move beyond them. That experience taught me to handle challenges differently. Now, when I face difficulties, I keep them private while I work through them. I seek help strategically and confidentially. I focus my energy on solutions rather than problems. I maintain my public image while I handle my private challenges. And I emerge stronger, not just because I have solved the problems, but because I've preserved my power and reputation throughout the process. The third thing that intelligent people never share with anyone is their true level of wealth and success. This might seem counterintuitive in a world that celebrates wealth and achievement, but hear me out. When you reveal your true financial situation or the extent of your success, you are opening yourself up to a range of problems that can significantly impact your life and relationships. First, you create expectations that can become burdens. When people know you have money, they expect you to pay for things. They expect you to be generous with your resources. They expect you to live a certain lifestyle. These expectations constrain relationships and create resentment on both sides. You might feel obligated to spend money you do not want to spend, or you might feel guilty for not meeting others' expectations. Second, you attract the wrong kind of attention. When people know you are wealthy or successful, some will try to get close to you for the wrong reasons. They might want to use your connections, borrow your money, or associate with you to elevate their own status. It becomes difficult to distinguish between genuine relationships and transactional ones. Third, you become a target for various forms of exploitation. This can range from simple requests for money to more sophisticated schemes designed to separate you from your wealth. The more people know about your financial situation, the more vulnerable you become to these approaches. But beyond these practical concerns, there is a deeper psychological principle at work. When you feel the need to share your wealth or success with others, you are seeking validation for your achievements. You are looking for recognition, admiration, or respect based on external measures rather than internal worth. This creates a dependency on others' opinions that can be dangerous to your mental health and decision-making. Intelligent people understand that true wealth and success are not about impressing others or gaining their approval. They are about creating freedom, security, and opportunities for yourself and the people you care about. They know that the moment you start using your wealth or success as a tool for social validation, you begin to lose the very benefits that wealth and success are supposed to provide. I have known many wealthy individuals throughout my life, and the ones who maintain their wealth and happiness long-term are those who live below their means publicly while building their empire privately. They drive modest cars, live in reasonable homes, and do not flash their success for all to see. They understand that stealth wealth is not about being secretive or deceptive. It is about being strategic and protective of your resources and your peace of mind. This principle extends beyond just money to all forms of success. When you achieve something significant, the natural impulse is to share it with the world. You want recognition for your hard work. You want appreciation for your achievements. You want to inspire others with your success story. But when you broadcast your successes, you also broadcast your vulnerabilities. People will analyze how you achieved your success, looking for shortcuts or ways to replicate your results. They will judge your methods, your timing, and your choices. They will compare their own achievements to yours, often leading to jealousy or resentment. They will expect you to maintain or exceed your current level of success, creating pressure that can affect your future performance. Before officialism. Moreover, when you share your successes publicly, you also invite scrutiny into your failures. People will watch you more closely, waiting to see if you can maintain your achievements or if you will fall back down to their level. This constant observation can create anxiety and pressure that undermines your ability to continue performing at a high level. I have observed that the most successful people I know are often the most private about their achievements. They celebrate privately with their closest family and friends, but they do not broadcast their wins to the world. They understand that success is not about external validation, but about internal satisfaction and the freedom to continue growing and achieving. This approach requires a fundamental shift in how you think about success and recognition. Instead of seeking approval from others, you must learn to validate yourself. Instead of measuring your worth by others' reactions to your achievements, you must develop internal metrics for success. Instead of needing the world to know about your victories, you must find satisfaction in the achievements themselves. This is not about being humble or modest, although those can be positive traits. This is about being strategic and protective of your energy and resources. Every time you share your success, you are spending emotional and mental energy on others' reactions rather than focusing that energy on your next achievement. Every time you seek validation from others, you are giving them power over your self-worth. The practice of keeping your wealth and success private also helps you maintain perspective. When you're not constantly talking about your achievements, you are less likely to become arrogant or complacent. You are more likely to stay hungry and motivated to continue growing. You are more likely to remember where you came from and stay connected to your values and principles. But perhaps most importantly, keeping your wealth and success private allows you to enjoy them more fully. When you're not worried about others' opinions or expectations, you can make decisions based on what truly makes you happy rather than what looks good to others. You can spend your money on what you value rather than what impresses people. You can choose your activities based on your interests rather than your image. Now, you might be wondering how to navigate social situations where people directly ask about your income, your investments, or your business performance. The key is to develop comfortable ways to deflect these questions without being rude or creating suspicion. You can say things like, "I'm comfortable," or "I'm doing well," or "I prefer to keep my financial information private." Most people will respect these boundaries if you state them confidently and move the conversation in a different direction. You might also wonder how this applies to close family members or romantic partners. The principle still applies, but the execution might be different. Even with people you trust completely, you should be strategic about how much detail you share and when you share it. You should consider their ability to handle the information responsibly and their reasons for wanting to know. You should also consider how the information might affect your relationship and their behavior toward you. The practice of keeping these three things private, your future plans, your personal struggles, and your true level of wealth and success, is not about being secretive or dishonest. It is about being strategic and protective of your power, your peace of mind, and your ability to continue growing and achieving. It is about understanding that information is power, and that giving away your power freely makes you vulnerable to manipulation and exploitation. This approach requires discipline and emotional intelligence. It requires you to resist the natural human impulses to share, to seek validation, and to connect through vulnerability. It requires you to develop internal sources of motivation and validation rather than relying on external approval. It requires you to think strategically about every interaction and every piece of information you share. But the benefits of this approach are immense. When you keep your future plans private, you maintain the element of surprise and avoid interference from others. You can execute your vision without the noise of other people's opinions and without the risk of someone else stealing your ideas. You can move with speed and precision because you are not weighed down by the need to explain or justify your actions to others. When you keep your personal struggles private, you maintain your reputation and your power. You can work through challenges without being perceived as weak or unreliable. You can focus your energy on solutions rather than problems. You can emerge from difficult periods stronger and more capable, with your image and relationships intact. When you keep your wealth and success private, you protect yourself from exploitation and unrealistic expectations. You can enjoy your achievements without the pressure of others' opinions or the burden of their expectations. You can make decisions based on your own values and desires rather than what others expect from someone of your status. Together, these three practices create a powerful foundation for success and happiness. They allow you to operate from a position of strength and mystery. They help you maintain control over your narrative and your resources. They enable you to build genuine relationships based on mutual respect rather than transactional needs. But implementing these practices is not always easy. We live in a culture that encourages oversharing and celebrates transparency. We are constantly bombarded with messages that tell us to be vulnerable, to share our struggles, to show off our successes. We are taught that privacy is secrecy, and that secrecy is suspicious. The challenge is to resist these cultural messages and develop your own code of conduct based on strategic thinking rather than social pressure. This requires you to think independently and to trust your own judgment, even when it goes against popular opinion. It requires you to be comfortable with being misunderstood by some people in order to be truly understood by the right people. It also requires you to develop alternative ways of connecting with others and building relationships. If you are not sharing your struggles, your plans, or your successes, you need to find other ways to create meaningful connections. You can share your values, your interests, your experiences, and your insights. You can be generous with your time, your attention, and your emotional support. You can be vulnerable in safe spaces with trusted individuals while maintaining your privacy in public settings. The key is to be intentional about what you share, when you share it, and with whom you share it. Every piece of information you reveal should serve a strategic purpose. Every conversation should be evaluated for its potential risks and benefits. Every relationship should be assessed for its level of trust and mutual benefit. This might sound calculating or manipulative, but it is actually the opposite. When you are strategic about what you share, you are being honest about the nature of human relationships and the realities of living in a competitive world. You are protecting yourself and your loved ones from unnecessary risks and complications. You are taking responsibility for your own security and success, rather than naively assuming that everyone has your best interests at heart. Moreover, this approach allows you to be more genuine in your interactions because you are not sharing information for the wrong reasons. When you do choose to open up to someone, it is because you trust them and value their input, not because you are seeking validation or attention. When you do share your successes, it is because you want to celebrate with people who genuinely care about you, not because you need their approval to feel good about yourself. The practice of strategic privacy also helps you develop better judgment about people and situations. When you are not immediately sharing everything about yourself, you have more time to observe others and assess their character. You can see how they treat information, how they handle secrets, and how they respond to boundaries. You can identify who is trustworthy and who is not before you invest too much emotional energy in the relationship. This observational period is crucial for building a strong network of allies and avoiding toxic relationships.